What is up, guys? Eric here again, back at it with another tremendous week for you guys. Oh, man, what a day! What a day in the chat room, in the market, etc., etc. Um, I'm just here to kind of quickly review these trades here with you guys. Hopefully, you are doing the same, especially if you're a trader. This is your job. You should be reviewing your trades all the time. But I'm going to go through this here, kind of break down with you how not only the week went, but today went for sure. Another crazy day, especially in this market. It's surprising to see, but man, we had 1,000% gainer today. And yeah, these last 2 days have just been tremendously great. These trades here is paying not only for my Christmas presents and stocking stuffers, but it's also paying for another trip for me here. So ready to travel and trade. But let's just go ahead and go into these trades. Hopefully, you guys, when you got the alerts, you made some money off of it too. At least got you in the right direction and you executed your trades perfectly. If not, got some things to work on. All right. Well, let's go ahead and go into these trades here. Let's first start off with the top of the week here. Pretty much where all my trades went. And actually, let me pull this up here because where's my freaking phone's ringing? All right. So yeah, let's kind of go into the first trade that I did here this week. I only took no, I did 6 trades this week. Um, so not too bad of a week there. But we're going to start from Monday and work this way through and kind of see how everything went. Okay. So the first trade I did this week here was DGBI. Um, Not too much of a out of the ordinary trade. It was kind of normal what I usually do. Made about 395 on that one. Got into it at $4.34 and had like an 18% gain. So not too shabby here. What day was Monday? So we can jump back into it. Give me a quick second, guys. I think that was the 5th. All right, so let's kind of pull it up here. We'll come back to this stuff there that's on the screen later on when we go over the last trade. But the 5th here, which is pretty much at this time frame, is when we were trading DGBI. So again, got in this bad boy here, 434, and let's kind of take a look at how that pretty much played out there for you. So 434, we're at this range here. Now, obviously, we got alerted with it, got the alert, looked at it. We're probably looking at it in pre-market, right? This thing pulls back. Here we are, opening bell. I'm looking at it, wanting to see when's a good time to get in. It stayed pretty bullish, and I, just decided to get in at that point. My risk to reward was pretty well. Obviously, I was going to get out around, below the $3 mark here. I was willing to take that risk at that point, so it was okay for me to enter. Had I gone wrong, I'd have been perfectly fine with it. But luckily, it played out. I didn't get psyched out here, um, even though as it was grinding along the volume weighted average price, it stayed into, confluence with what I assumed it was going to do. So pretty quick trade though for me. It didn't last too long. Got in 434, pulled back, wait for another pop, and it popped and it held again and it kept going up. So took my profits at 18%, had 500 shares, $4.34. So not too bad, $395 gain there. Let's move on to the next one. PAFO. And it's crazy because as this week progressed, like each trade was kind of getting better and better, of course, until, PFO, but it wasn't too bad. It was still dollar wise was good. Percentage wise wasn't as good as DGBI. So, and this is why I tell you guys, like, focusing on percentage gainers versus dollar gainers is much better because you can always worry about the dollars that grow later on. Okay. Um, but PFO was like only a 10% gain for me. I got in at 855 and then took out 10%, and it was only a $430 gain. And you guys seen that video in real time now. I don't think I posted a screenshot of it, but I just posted the video on the Facebook group for you to kind of have there. But this was on the 6th. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Was it the 6th? Yeah, right here. So again, not a great trade. Let me make sure that was the date. The 6th was on Tuesday. I believe that was on. Yeah. So got in at like 840-ish, and then I kind of pretty much got out around this range here for a little 10% gain. Because you see, it wasn't much movement there. It touched like the high nines throughout the week. I'm sorry, throughout the day, which isn't bad. And I had a good tolerance of holding this thing here because there was no sign of bearish movement there because it stayed along the VWAP the whole time. So kind of got out. It was a pretty long hold, but I wasn't going to push it, especially the way it was moving. Wasn't much momentum there. So green is green, right? Can't complain too much. So guys, a lot of times when I'm looking at the trades and deciding which alerts to trade, I'm just looking for the little things that I look for as a trader. I'm looking for it to break the previous high. I'm looking for level two to start lighting up and orders started getting flooded in and buyers stepping up. When I'm entering my trade, I'm entering in when it's in a downturn. I'm not entering in when it's running up. I'm just when it's running up, I'm looking at it. I'm watching it, see how much strength is going to be there, and then I'm waiting for the pullback to see that support. When I see that support, boom, I'm going to go ahead and take my money. I see that support getting in. I'm willing to wait for it to come down a little lower if it does. I'm not always nailing these bottoms and I'm not always nailing these tops. You guys will be able to see here when we're done with this, I'm only grabbing as much of the meat of the move as I can. That's the whole purpose of it. You're not going to get every top. You're not going to get every bottom. As you guys been watching me like through these last 2 years or so, I've only probably hit the top maybe like once or twice. Usually it's just the meat of the move. And that's just because I'm watching for everything to, come down off of level two. All the stuff I teach you guys in that course, you put it together and you get the ability to kind of trade kind of how like I'm doing. Mainly what the course is designed to do to teach you how to create your own trading strategy. I'm just introducing you to different concepts so you can put it all together and make it work for you. You might not like the way I trade, which is perfectly fine. There's plenty of traders, especially in the chat room, who are making way more money than I am, especially off these alerts, and do way better than what I do. But to each his own. That's what it's there for. For you guys to be able to do it at your discretion. But again, obviously not going to work for everybody. But those of you that do like to be, inspiring traders and want to be a good trader, this is going to give you that shortcut to be able to do that. So yeah, but that's how PFO went. So not too bad of a trade. Let's get into the meat of the move here. All right. PHVS. Oh my goodness, this was pretty good trade for me. I traded it twice, 2 different times throughout the day. I wish I'd have held on once, but me, I don't like to wait around for my money, guys. I just gotta get in and get out, right? So yeah, that's how it was. So PHVS, we got that alert in pre-market. So we all were watching it pre-market, right? And not much movement throughout the day for it. I got in at like 405 the first time, and you guys I posted it like I was like, I'm just gonna take my little 21% and get out. So it popped up pre-market. I believe there was a news catalyst, right? We watched the pullback happen, and then I got in at 405, which was like right around this little pullback here. I mean, not pullback, but come up here. Because I watched for the dip, and I think we even said it in the chat, we're like, hey, I think even Mike said it or one of you guys said it. You said, hey, the pullback's going to come in the, in the opening bell, which is to be expected. Buyers are cashing out, especially when they seen that it's moved out up in pre-market. People are going to cash out, so it's naturally how the dip is going to come. Now, I waited for this cross to happen, got in, perfect. All right, got in at 405, and it ran. What kind of alarmed me was this straight shot up. That was kind of a really, really spiked sharp up. So I had my finger on the trigger with the high key ready to take my profits and didn't really want to risk it, especially since the day before I had pretty decent gains. I was up like almost over $800 since Monday. So I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to go ahead and take my $440 and leave it and then, be up 1,200 as opposed to being down probably more. So went to my profits right away. You guys seen I posted that up there. Now it pulled back, right? And then just grinded throughout the rest of the day. Not much movement, didn't break no new highs or nothing like that. Then here we go. Right around lunchtime. I don't know what happened. Buyers got caught, got wind of it. Shorts got squeezed. Whatever happened, doesn't matter. We don't care. But spiked up. I got back in at $7.38. No, $7.83. Which is, let me pull it up here so I can show you guys tremendously. So depending on how your time frames are set up, perfectly fine. So it spiked on up, and I was like, man, that is interesting, right? Like, okay, we're coming into power hour. The day's not over yet. I know we're at in a time frame. Now let's just kind of watch it. So I'm watching the stock here. It moves, and then the sell signal comes up. I'm saying, okay. Maybe this was like a little spike fake. Let's just kind of see what's happening here. Then we're getting like this kind of candle. This is letting you know the price is trying to push up. One more time again. Price is trying to push up. Get the bears trying to fight again. But now it's getting green. We got to spin. So at this point here, everything is kind of catching my eye. This is like where I started to enter the trade because the sell Usually when the sell indicator is kind of showing you that the stocks are trying to drop off, I'm thinking it's going to be a major pullback. But the pullback was struggling. They were, buyers were stepping up at that price, and the orders were getting executed right there. You could see it easily on level two. So I'm like, okay, this is interesting. You know what? Since we're at a pullback now, if I get into $7 or around that range, I'm perfectly fine. Originally, I had an order set for $7, but it didn't get executed. Price just kept moving up and kept moving up. I said, "Ooh," I was telling myself like, "Hey, this thing is probably on another verge of turning up again." Let me kind of adjust this because you could see it on the MACD a little bit as well too. Let me pull it up here. There we go. So yeah, so I'm like, oh, we're at the tail end of this thing coming down and it's still pulling up. So maybe this is where a level of support might hold. So I got in at 736. I decided to move it up and I told myself, hey, if this thing comes back down even near close to the VWAP, mainly what I was looking for is for it to touch this $6 level. I was okay to willing to risk that because of the fact that I wouldn't have lost so much money from my profits during the week. So anyways, started moving. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this next pull up here. And here we are, the next pull up. What alarmed me first was that it wasn't breaking this high. So I'm thinking, especially around this candle, like, it's not trying to break. So maybe I should just go ahead and take profits, or maybe I shouldn't. Let's hang on to it. What should I do? Um, yeah, so I decided to, let it ride. I'm already up, so I'm good. Some of you guys who may not be up, you might be in a position where you're down and you're just happy to get green and you're quickly taking your profits. Is perfectly fine. Again, you want to hit what's your risk to reward. So I was willing to take the risk. If it did drop, I had a good stop out plan, which is perfectly fine for me. And again, to each his own. So luckily, I was rewarded with that risk, and this thing popped on up, and I said, okay, I got time for it to wait a little bit more, and it popped on up some more again, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to push it, take my profits, um, pretty much like around that area, and which is good because I didn't want to get too greedy. Um, it still had some more movement after hours, but I didn't want to be too greedy. But walked out of that bad boy with a 55% gain, 2,000, well, it was like 2,100 profit. Boom. We looking good. And this is just Thursday, right? So I'm like, yeah, and I told you guys in the group chat, I'm like, man, in the Facebook group, I said I'm up 2 grand. I'm calling it a day. I don't need to trade Friday. Well, maybe I will trade Friday. After looking at what after hours was looking like, I said, okay, it might be some good movement happening, on Friday. So I might go ahead and trade this Friday, make it an exception. Boy, oh boy, was I wrong. So the reason why you have rules when you trade, guys, is because it just helps keep everything in line. However, there are always some exceptions to every rule. And you know what? I'm gonna make this a little fun. If you guys, well, for those of you that kind of do my course like that, you'll know that there was a slight exception to my rule in this trade here. I'll leave it to you to figure that out. So no problem there. But this is pretty much how the trade went for me. First time I entered the trade, it was I got in at 97 cents, and I left out of that bad boy with a profit of about what 330%. This thing moved 1,000%, guys. I snatched up a third of that. All right, and my profit was only $1,617. It wasn't really that much. If I would have put more into it, I know some of you guys in the chat room were making thousands of dollars. So I'm just happy that the trade played out really well. And for those of you that were trading, made money. Again, I'm not, you know, wanting to be greedy. Everyone should be able to eat, especially if you put in the time and work to learn how to trade. So it's great. You guys are banking. That's great. So first trade got in 97 cents, profited about $1,600, and it was a 331% gainer. I'm just happy about the gainer. I ain't really worried about the dollar amount. I'm just amazed at the gainer. Then I got back in a little bit right in power hour as we all came back into the chat room, and I grabbed another $500. I went a little bit more aggressive with this trade because just I was already up so much, and so I was willing to risk a little bit more. Plus, we were already in the $4 range, so I'm like, hey, we're in a decent break now. And I just snatched up a little 12% because, like I said, I wanted to do a little bit of shopping this weekend for Christmas, so went ahead and did that. I actually got some good things I'm going to buy. But let's take a look at this trade. AMAM. Now, let me go ahead and load this here. So I'm gonna break this down a little bit more for you guys. So let's take a look at when we first got this alert, because there's it's almost virtually no excuse. The only tricky part about this trade for you guys that should have been a little bit of a red flag was the fact that this thing kept getting halted so much. And like we were seeing in the chat room, that was so annoying to me because we were up. And I'm like, you guys know, if you don't know how to trade halts, it's very difficult. But even when you do know how to trade halts, it gets very annoying because your orders may not get executed. You could get skipped over at any time, things like that. And this thing halted so much. It's been a long time since I've seen a stock hold this much throughout the day. But first alert we got here was at 5:04 a.m. Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Okay. So you have more than enough time to kind of look at the catalyst. Then you got the alert again here, and then you got the alert here. Now, we already had a lot of movement in pre-market, a lot of movement. Decision fatigue is a real thing, and I'm actually doing a little, part of a course on this because I noticed there's not a lot of talk about this in the trading community, but it is a very big thing. When there's a lot of trades going on, those of you who are experienced should know what you're looking for, things like that. And those of you who are new, you're probably overwhelmed with a lot of trades that can be taking place. And we'll talk about how to, fix all that stuff here in a second. In the course, but whatever. A lot of opportunity for you guys, and the alerts were just kind of going off for you. But yeah, I mean, you had more than enough time. So let's kind of pull this up here. So obviously, you pull up the stock, right? I'm going to look at the stats. Market cap is pretty decent. The volume is good. Mainly the float fits the criteria that I tell you guys to look for when it comes to trading. Okay, perfect. So we know this thing can run. How much it was going to run, we weren't really, kind of anticipating, but we knew to keep it on the radar and then measure your risk to reward accordingly, right? Pretty simple. So you had more than enough time, especially with all these holes. You could have done several different plans, and I did it while I was trading, and while I was in the market actually today. So let's just kind of go over where it was at. So again, I got in at 97 cents. And I keep saying that because that's a clue for you guys to find out what rule did I break of my normal trading views. And whoever tells me what that rule is, I'm gonna go ahead and give you. I'll cash app you $50. I'll cash app you. I'll Venmo you. I'll Zelle you. Whatever you need. I'm gonna give you $50. If you can tell me what rule it was that I broke of mine that I normally don't, do to make an exception to get in this trade. Just for you guys to know. Whoever lets me know first, I got you, and I'll post it up. All right. I'll put a link to it so you guys can see that I'm sending them money. But anyway, so yeah, got in this bad boy here. Pre-market was, pretty nice. So let's load it up here. Right at this dip is where I got in. I was already watching it beforehand, but by the time it got right here, I was like, okay, it's pre-market. It's a lot easier to read level 2 in pre-market because the orders aren't getting executed as fast, and which is why I tell you guys to look at pre-market and after hours. Even if you don't want to, just look at it. So you get accustomed to being able to read level 2. It's much slower, much more easier, and it just does you good to learn. Screen time is important. So got in that thing at 97 cents, and it just kept rising, kept rising. Again, no reason for me to pull back. Because it never crossed bearish territory. So I basically just let this thing ride. And then we got to the point, where it began to halt and halt and halt all through opening bell. This is what all these little choppiness is here, is all these halts. Eventually, I was finally able to get out and had a 330% gain. So again, imagine sitting here through all this is very pressure intensive, right? Because you got all these halts, you never know. You're looking at level 2. Where's it going to go? Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? And it was a lot of fluctuation throughout this whole stock. So eventually, by the time it got up, clear near that $4 level, I just went ahead and took my profits. I took my 330% gain. I figured that was more than enough, and this thing continued to run. It just continued to run. So again, 1,000% gainer because it went from how much cents is that? 50 cents to all the way to freaking $4 and change, guys. So if you didn't make any money on here on this first go around, then you could have did like I did on the second go around. Now look, tricky part here. It began to die off throughout the day. Basically what this is doing here is washing out people who aren't really kind of invested in the stock kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like it's executing traders who bought here, here, here. They're freaking out. Oh my gosh, I'm losing so much money. I thought this thing was going to the moon, blah, blah, blah. It began to try to cup and handle, and this is where it faked out a lot of people. And this is kind of where I just took my eyes off of it. I said, okay, it's done right there. Normally, this is where it tries to, bounce up. I said, okay, this thing is done. Me personally, I was like, this thing is done. walked away from the desk, took a break, took a lunch, blah, blah, blah. Then it started to pull back some more. I said, yeah, it's really, really done. Then it kind of caught all of our eyes here, like right around this time. We're still looking at it. And then I noticed it when it kind of broke right here. I was like, oh, this thing might be trending up at this point. When you kind of broke that previous attempt to do a cup and handle right here, where it was going to have another breakout, but it began to trend up after that, that's a good sign that it's going to steadily improve. So I ended up getting in at like a 402, which is kind of right around that area. I was kind of waiting for, towards the end of the day to kind of, get into this thing. So as it continued to grind up and grind up, I said, you know what, it's worth the wait, it's worth the hold. So by the time it got, into that area, like halfway mid to the cup and handle, I said, it's time to go ahead and get in. So I got executed at 402, like right around here. And then right before the last few minutes of the bell, I went ahead and took my profits right before the end of the bell. It had a small little 12% gain. It was just a $500 move, but green is green. And then I just didn't hold after hours. It just doesn't make sense to. That's at this point, if I'm trying to hold after hours and if you were waiting for like it to break the previous high, to be honest with you, that's pure greed. Pure greed. And there's no reason to get in after that for a number of different reasons. You took the course, you should know why. But anyways, that's it, guys. I mean, this thing was a monster today. $1,000 gains. All together here has been a great week. I don't think, anything that's happened here is something that's ordinary, but it's definitely been, much better than the way the market's been. But I told you guys before that usually the last 2 weeks into the market before Christmas is going to be like really, really spectacular. I didn't think it was going to be this spectacular, but it has been. So that's good there. And then, with the way everything played out, after Christmas is over, you can kind of expect the market to die down a little bit before the actual new year hits. So keep that in mind, guys, and be cautious with your trades. But other than that, today was an excellent day, guys. Overall this week, I'm about $5,500 in profit this week, which isn't bad. Again, as you guys have been seeing, I've been making a couple grand, even in this bear market. And this is what you do as a trader every single day. So yeah, it's been a great week. Been a great week. Dollar wise, it's not that great. It's only $5,000. Percentage wise, it's excellent. Excellent. Okay. We just letting this money grow. But other than that, guys, alerts working well. I'm working on some new stuff here to help make you guys more efficient traders. As the channel and stuff like that begins to grow and stuff, we'll probably start going live a little bit more often to make things easier. I'm still trying to keep the group and stuff like that limited to people because I can't answer all you guys' questions at once. So I like the couple, of hundreds that we have in there because it's more like it's honestly more like a tight-knit family. And you guys that are in there, I definitely, I'm glad that you guys are learning a lot more and getting better. It is tough trading. Don't let no one fool you. Don't think this is easy because it is not. Day in and day out, it is stressful. Even worse if you're trying to make this the only job you do, which I don't encourage you to do, especially starting out as beginning. But the more you get familiar with this, the more easier it's going to come to you down the line. Okay. And I'm going to help try to accelerate that as much as possible. So guys, have yourself a great weekend. Rest up. Let's get ready for next week. Try to make as much money as we can. And, I'm just going to see you guys, next week. Congrats again to all of you that banked. If you, are interested in alerts, guys, definitely sign up for them. They really, really help out a lot of traders. They tell me it works wonders for them. If you know someone who wants to sign up as an affiliate and just refer them, send them your referral link and let them sign up for the trades as well too. Make some money off of that. That helps out too with you and being able to be able to trade consistently with the alerts. So I'm reinvesting a lot of this stuff here into providing more tools and tips for you guys to become better traders. So trust me, definitely worth it. And I've heard plenty of people tell me that, I should be raising prices on things the way it works, but I don't want to do that. I don't want finances to be a barrier entry for those of you who are trying to actually learn this stuff and, become better traders. Okay. So I just want to see you guys improve. It just benefits me as a trader to have you become a better trader as opposed to being some, person that just, charges you a bunch of money to do, learn stuff you can learn on your own. It just doesn't make sense, guys. It's better to have you be successful and bring more liquidity into the market because that just helps, me as a trader as well too. But yeah, other than that, y'all have a great weekend and let's look for next week and you guys stay green. All right, guys, you know the routine. If you enjoyed that video, please do us a favor, show some support and hit that like button. Give us that thumbs up. Let us know if you enjoyed this content. Comment below. Let us know your thoughts. We love hearing from you as well too. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions about anything whatsoever. Be more than happy to help you out. Until then, stay green.